This is One on One. Welcome, folks. Steve Adubato here. For those of you who consistently watch our program, you know that I've been asking people about the most significant lesson they've learned about leadership for a long time. And one of the reasons we've been doing that is because for the last couple of years I've been working on a book called Lessons in Leadership. And the first chapter in this book, Lessons in Leadership right here, takes all of those quotes about leadership from hundreds of people and condenses them, the best that we thought we had. And we break them down and try to teach people through that. And I wanted to bring on my colleague, Mary Gamba, who's the Director of Development at Stand and Deliver, to join me in this segment so we can make sense of what we've heard from those experts, those leaders of every stripe, and also offer some lessons for folks. How you doing?
Very good. How are you?
Good. So I didn't ask you this question. The number one leadership lesson that you have learned. No, seriously, I've been doing this with all kinds of people. Mary's been working with me for 16, 17 years. She runs our Stand and Deliver not-for-profit program with youth leaders, 500 every year. We teach them all kinds of leadership skills. Number one leadership lesson you've learned is?
I would have to say you can't lead others until you learn to lead yourself.
Which is a chapter in the book. What does that mean for you, though?
It is. For me, it took me a lot of time to realize that you need to know who you are, be true to yourself, and compose yourself a certain way, be able to adapt to situations when things go wrong. And I think that as far as leadership goes, that's a very important leadership trait. And then once you get to that point, anything else is possible, because then you're humble enough to realize, hey, I made a mistake. I'm going to lead myself, and then I can lead others.
Mary and I talk about this a lot, and one of the first clips you're going to see, or one of the first excerpts you're going to see in terms of leadership lessons, really goes to a lot of what Mary just said. It comes from an extraordinary interview we did with Eric LeGrand, who was 25, 26 years of age right now, but at 20 years of age played for Rutgers University, one of the stars there, playing Army. A terrible collision on the field. And his life was changed forever, but he was sitting across from us, right in the studio, I believe, and because he can no longer walk, no longer obviously play football, but he's a broadcaster, radio broadcaster. He loves football, he loves sports, and he's a motivational speaker. And you're going to see that this one is the leadership lesson is attitude is everything when it comes to leadership and in life. He said, if you're going to lead people, this is Eric LeGrand from Rutgers University. He's was a football player there, now a motivational speaker. He said, if you're going to lead people, you need to prove to those people that you are in the battle with them. I could have given up a long time ago, but I decided not to. Show that you can do it, and then people will believe in you. Attitude is everything, Mary?
Absolutely everything. Whether you are a young adult, whether you're in business, if you don't have a good attitude and if you don't show others that, hey, my attitude is going to be an example of what I expect from you, you're going to fail. You're destined to fail. Bad things happen, things go wrong. Eric LeGrand, you can't get, I have no idea how he does what he does every day, and he does it with a positive attitude, and that's just an amazing leadership trait.
Well, let's talk about that, because in the book, Lessons in Leadership, we talk about the fact, and Mary worked with me with Victoria Eisenstein, part of our team as well, for about 2 years.
Yeah.
And I disclose in the book an awful lot, because when you lead, things go wrong all the time. It's not a question of what happens, but how you choose to deal with it. You and I have had this conversation.
Absolutely.
I'll say, Mary, such and such happened. Why did that happen? Why did she do this? Why did he do that? And you're like, what?
Right.
How long are we going to do this, Steve? Why don't you look at what the positives are and how we can turn this into something positive? I'm like, Mary, like, what do you always wake up on the right side of the bed? Why do you do that, and where did that come from?
Just growing up, everything was very positive with the reinforcement in my life. And when things go wrong, of course, first you have to address the problem. You need to say, this went wrong. I'm not happy about it. Oftentimes, whomever it is that you're speaking to is also just as equally not as happy about it. But then get past it and then come up with solutions. Ask the person to come up with solutions. But the sooner you get past the anger and the disappointment and the rage, the quicker you can get to a solution in the end of the day.
Very true. And by the way, when it comes to this attitude thing, we work on it every day. And someone says, oh, yeah, I got a great attitude. I'm like, yep, you'll be tested tomorrow, and I'm working on mine.
No, and seriously, every single day, as soon as I wake up, as we all do, it's a brand new day. And I say to myself every single morning, it is a good day. I'm here, I'm gonna make the best of it, whether I'm tired, whether I have a headache, whether I don't feel that well. I go into it with that attitude, and it really makes a difference.
And she does live it every day. Let's try this one. This is under the category of great leaders are lifelong learners. It's an important chapter in the book, but more importantly, we got a great quote from Barry Ostrowski, President and CEO of RWJ Barnabas Health. And this is what Barry said. You'll see the quote right here. He said, listen to as many people within your organization as you can. Don't let your confidence in your own judgment overtake the value of the information you get from the people who are working for you. So what happens, Mary, if the leader says, I know the way to go, don't tell me, that's why I'm the CEO, you say?
You're going to miss out on a lot of other great ideas, a lot of other opportunities. You may not see something the way that someone else sees it. You don't always have to take the person's advice or idea as a leader, but taking it into consideration will really help you to see the bigger picture.
And it is true because I'm going to tell you, some of us who think we know and we think leadership is about being the boss. Being the boss isn't being a leader.
Exactly.
That's just the person who tells people what to do. And the other thing about being a lifelong leader, I'm going to just share this real quick. One of the things in the book that we talk about is people who say, I've learned enough, I don't need to know anymore. And I do a lot of executive coaching, as you know, and I talked about a client who one time told me he was in his 50s and he said, I don't need to be coached by you or anyone else because, quote, I'm as good as I'm ever going to get.
Right.
And then I told you, what about that guy? That guy wanted to be the top person.
Yeah. You're not going to get there.
Why not?
You're not going to get there. You need to be open-minded. You need to understand that there's always new lessons to be learned. There's always new tools that you can put into your wheelhouse as you work every day. Everyone needs practice. Everyone can get better, no matter whether you're the President of the United States or whether you're the CEO of an organization. There's always room for growth.
And by the way, speaking of that, Victoria just reminded me, some of the things we can do to keep learning and growing. What do they include?
Really, for me, it's finding new books, talking to others, learning about others' leadership styles. I'm always looking for different books that highlight different things. I had mentioned to you the other day a book called Grit. And and just reading what other leaders have to say, what other journalists have to say. It's really just staying informed and being open-minded to understand that maybe there's a different way you can think about things.
One more quickie. I argued in the book, in the chapter called Great Leaders Build Other Leaders, and our friend Patrick Dunnigan over at Gibbons said this: relentless follow-up is the most effective leadership best practice. Successful leaders never cease to push, cajole, encourage, and inspire. Persistence and perseverance are essential. Developing future leaders. We have a great team here at the Caucus Educational Corporation. You notice everyone is trying to step up to take on a new role, new responsibilities, as opposed to saying, well, I'm a good leader, I'm good, leave me alone. That doesn't work.
No, it definitely doesn't work, especially in a smaller organization. Everyone needs to do their part. No one is above sending a FedEx or responding to an email. It's an all hands on deck. If something goes wrong, if something goes right, if there's an opportunity to go in and help one another, being there to help one another, and then also give constructive feedback and criticism so someone can learn and grow in the process is key.
And by the way, one more before we get out of here. One of the chapters I enjoy the most, it wasn't fun to write, but it was called You Can't Lead Others Until You Lead Yourself. And that chapter in the book, and by the way, go on our website, steveadubato.org. It's our nonprofit. You will find lots of free tips here. We're not looking to sell books to anybody. And in that chapter, I talk an awful lot about the mistakes I've made as a leader, but it is the only way, and I admit them, I acknowledge them, because I'm convinced that the only way you grow as a leader is to acknowledge your own mistakes, take full responsibility for them, instead of pinning it on other people, throwing other people under the bus and saying, I'm the leader, don't blame me. It doesn't work that way.
It definitely doesn't work that way. We call it the blame game a lot when we do our coaching and consulting work. And playing the blame game, again, the other person is going to get defensive. They're going to shut down. Owning your part in whatever it is that went wrong and then working together as a team to get past it is really important.
Sounds so simple, especially when it comes from Mary Gamba, who lives it every day. Thanks, Mary. Lessons in Leadership, particularly go on our website and get free information about they're not just lessons in leadership, they're lessons in life. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by Wells Fargo, New Jersey Resources, New Jersey Sharing Network, Adler Aphasia Center, the New Jersey State Nurses Association, and the Institute for Nurses, the Healthcare Foundation of New Jersey, and by Partners for Health Foundation. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area. One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been produced in partnership with St. Joseph's Healthcare System.